Hi, welcome back. This is part 2 of the video that Becky Hunter and I are doing on some of the concerns and roadblocks that we hear from clients prior to coming in and meeting with an attorney. In our first video on this series, we explored the financial concerns and the emotional concerns that we hear from a lot of our clients. And in the second part of the video, we're going to talk about some of the legal concerns or questions that we get from clients about the process that are oftentimes something we hear to be, hey, that's why I didn't come in any earlier because I was nervous about this. So in kind of turning to those topics, we often hear people say, well, look, I was just so overwhelmed. I didn't understand anything about the process. What would you tell people considering meeting with an attorney having that experience?
You really need to consult with an attorney to help alleviate whatever concerns you have about the process of divorce. You know, people that specialize in a certain area of law are going to know things that you're not going to just know off the top of your head. How could you? You're not a lawyer. And then an average lawyer who practices some family law, but other areas of law, they're not going to know as much as somebody who specializes in family law either. And so it's really important to talk to an expert to let them know what your specific concerns are so they can tailor fit a case plan for you and give you advice about what you can do now to prevent something from happening in the future. We don't know what we don't know, right? And so that's why we talk to experts, and those are the people that are able to give you the specific plan going forward.
Yeah, and so when we say talk to someone who specializes, right, there's a very precise term in for lawyers of I have this specialty. But I think what we really mean more commonly is it's just someone who is customarily in family court and seeing this area of law on their desk every day. And so, of course, there's questions about the process. Of course, you don't know, hey, we're going to file this petition and then what comes next? And then how many court dates are we going to have and how much time? That's all questions that we can answer pretty much day one in your consult. We can give you an overview of what the process is going to look like. Now, are things going to change because each case is unique? Absolutely. But we can at least give you an outline of here are some mile markers in the case to be aware of, and here are things that we have to do to prepare for those mile markers. And like we talked about in our first segment on this topic, the more time and the more information you get for yourself, you provide to the attorney with the most amount of time for us to make a plan specific to you, you're already starting in a better position than you would be if we delayed a little bit on that.
Absolutely.
And so, when we kind of talk about, I don't know the process, we also get a lot of people coming in with some maybe prior misconceptions of family court or examples from friends of theirs or people they work with. What would you kind of tell the general public about concerns or cautions to really reading into some of these, for lack of a better word, misconceptions?
Absolutely. Something that I hear all the time is, well, the mom is going to get the kids. The mom's going to get the custody. Dads never get the kids.
And do you find Calcasieu to be a mom-favored parish?
Not at all. Not at all. Calcasieu Parish does what the law says. They look at what's the best interest of the child. And that phrase, best interest of the child, is a legally definable phrase. It has several different components that give a legal definition of what exactly that phrase means. And so a lawyer that knows family law is going to know what specific factors do we need to get evidence of in order to prove that one parent over the other is in the best interest of the children to be the domiciliary parent. So that's a really common one.
Yeah, and on that too, I know we hear pretty commonly, I hear it often with child support, right? Of my buddy Greg works at the plants and he makes X dollars and they have X number of kids and he only pays this much in child support. Well, there's a ton of factors that go into child support and may lead to why your support is higher or lower than your friend Greg's, depending on those situations. So things like, when was it calculated? What does each party in that case versus your case make? How many kids are there? What's your visitation plan? All of those factors, have weight to some of the determinations that the court comes up with. And so while I do think there is a time and place, rely on your support system. Absolutely talk to other people about the experience that they had going through the process. But I think it's really important to reiterate to everyone that family law is such a factually unique area of law. No two cases are the same because every case has different people, and family law is about people. And so kind of, are there any other sentiments to that you would encourage clients to say, yes, talk to your people, but ultimately at the end of the day, here's what you need to do to understand what you're looking at.
Absolutely. Like Erin said, rely on them for emotional support. But just like there are a whole bunch of factors that weigh into child support, guess what? There are even more that weigh into spousal support. And so knowing somebody that can give you the playbook to give you the information about how we can navigate these really complex, fact-specific topics, a lawyer is going to be able to do that. And friends and family are great for emotional support, and it sometimes it can be uplifting to hear their sides, or sometimes it can be uplifting to hear what happened in their divorce if they were successful, or it can be really useful to hear what pitfalls maybe to avoid. But relying on your friends and family as a source of legal information would be a very big mistake.
Yeah, I think that's a definitely a good way to kind of summarize that. And actually we'll go hand in hand. One of our next videos on this page is going to be talking about the use of artificial intelligence, specifically in family law, as that can have some pitfalls for both clients and attorneys. And I think that's kind of a great way to wrap up and transition into that segment of rely on your resources, but understand at the end of the day, nothing is the same as an attorney. So with that, thank you guys for joining us for this video, and we will catch you at the next one discussing the pitfalls of artificial intelligence in the law.
Hey, we appreciate you watching that video. If you have other questions about other legal topics, check out our website, johnsonfirmla.com, or our YouTube page. We put out material all of the time in the areas of family law, personal injury, and criminal defense. We really appreciate you checking us out. Thanks so much.